Hi, Scorpio. Rising. Scorpio Ascendant. All right. So, just to preface a little bit, welcome to this space. Happy to have you. I hope you're doing good. B. This is foundationally based off of what I'm calling the new old map, old new map, I don't know, where instead of Aries ruling the first house, Taurus rules it, the Venus, right? Which is actually your opposite. And that's interesting. But we start with Venus, we start with love versus starting with Mars, which is war. And what's interesting about this, Scorpio Ascendant, is that you're traditionally ruled by Mars. So we're still starting with Mars, the undercurrent of Venus. So I see here with Scorpio Ascendant, it is so very important to learn how to accept and to love yourself for who you are. And particularly whatever gender you are. Like whatever God, however God made you, however the Creator made you, there's something about that you have to love whoever you are. You could be born with no legs. You have to love who it is that you are. You could be divorced 3 times. You got to love who it is that you are. And all the people that you have been, because you probably change all the time. And in the beginning of life, I sense that you're like, what the fuck? This is fucking bullshit. And there could have been a bunch of bullshit that just happened. The reason, and it's interesting we're starting like this, but I guess there's something where that's the way it came out, right? That was the beginning of it. But because Mars rules you, Scorpio, and we're starting here with the self, that means Mars is at home, right? When Mars is in Scorpio, eventually, once you know your own self-value, there's no fucking qualms about it. There's no question about it. There's no doubt about it. There's no perception or perspective or other person's opinion or situation that happened to happen or thing that got taken away that could fucking shake that at all. Is when you get to that position, there is nothing that you will not be ready for, that you will not be excited about, like participating in or competing in or trying, Like you're not afraid, you're not ashamed, you're not shy. None of that. So, yeah, that's important, Scorpio Ascendant. Because of all the things that have happened to you, and a lot of them could be very much psychological, right? Which is a hard thing to pinpoint, to explain exactly. You could get into a mode where you're so smart, right? You're a digger. You like examining what's happening. But I heard sometimes you get lost under the earth, like you get lost underground too long. This could be underground in your mind, like these other places. So you could be like, I already know what I need to know. Like but the undercurrent is you could still be questioning yourself somewhat. But this all goes back to self-value. Okay. Could have a little bit of a temper. If you feel threatened. right? Like when you see a scorpion and a scorpion can sense that something's around it that's threatening it, it stops moving. Like all its muscles tense up, right? Which is like an adrenaline sort of push. But I see that that really drains you mentally. So this is where you have to go back and really be comfortable in your own skin. You know what I mean? Be comfortable with whatever, your childhood, your again, I see that the person that you are, the way the creator made you, however they made you, because it's beautiful. No one's perfect. That's part of the uniqueness that's exciting, okay? I see that your mother could have restricted her love in some kind of way. You could also sort of have a difficulty, like you could feel really connected and sort of responsible for your siblings. For the like if there were things happening around you, like in your neighborhood, your neighbors, whatever, you'd feel like you'd want to go like fix it, but it's hard for you to really connect. Like you could probably live in an apartment building and like not talk to not ever see anybody when you live there if you wanted to, or you could totally like, how do I see this? Very intelligent. You may have some sort of restriction in your education. Like something halted it in some kind of way. Or maybe some of you were homeschooled. Interesting. Or actually, even some of you could have been where you were in like you possibly remember when you were small and you're going to some school and then they like took you out of that school and put you in another school. But it was more like a military school or like a religious school or something very strict. And I don't think that you liked it. I don't think that you got the nurturing that you needed. Like it could be like where you got sent away for school, something like that, or in some sort of way you got sent away from school. Let's move along. Excuse me, I just did Aquarius. Scorpio Ascendant. Now, how do we look at home here? You probably like eclectic things. You could move a lot. Also, sort of bounce around. Your job, your home, that could bounce around a little bit. Although really what you need is to probably stay still. It depends what's in your fourth house, but I feel like the undercurrent, I guess you kind of have a talent here where you can, no matter where you are, that you're at home. But I think you only find this place once you know who you are, right? You accept who you are. But I think even when you're a little bit insecure about it, even though it may not, again, come out on the outside, but it's happening on the inside, this little bit of questioning, you can still handle things. Like someone could plop you in the middle of, like some random new culture, and you could be like, okay, like, I'll figure this out. You know what I mean? Like, you end up figuring out how to be like, learn the language and ask someone, whatever, if there's someone hiring, and then you end up getting a job, something like this. It's really cool. So give yourself credit for that, because not everybody's comfortable with that, I saw some of you may be confused about whether you have children because you don't want to pass down your feet, or like maybe because you move so much you feel like you couldn't have kids, something like that. You're not settled enough. In your mind about it, like maybe you can't just like, maybe sometimes you'd want children and then sometimes you don't. You could have them or not have them, and scenario is the same. I feel like you would be attracted to people who are like you. In one way, and also the opposite you. And I see that it's up to you to decide which one you are. And to realize that there may be some of the people you end up falling in love with, connecting your heart to, your head to, like your mind to, right? The reason why Scorpio is your first house is because you're supposed to get used to things changing, right? You're supposed to learn lessons about power, about your own personal power, about what's an exchange of power with other people, and how, like, because that could be through money, through sex, through energy, through communication, right? Time, however you do that, because it's all energy, right? And I think you have to be really accepting to learning why your heart connected like that, but not beating yourself up when it didn't last forever. Just a minute. It's like you're the scorpion. You walk into this world as the scorpion, right? But like, I feel like Scorpio rising has to learn how to walk through life with its tail down. Right? It's almost as if you're, like I said before, like, oh, you're born with no legs. It's like you're a scorpion that was sort of born with no tail. Like it got chopped off somehow or stepped on, or like a rock fell or something. And like, so you're still this scorpion, but I'm not saying you're not powerful, as you are. Exactly. Like a person with no legs is just as equally powerful as a person that doesn't have legs, because power is an internal thing, right? Still be an amazing archer and like whatever, do all the things you need to do, no legs. But the point is that, and actually I see that you do have to be becoming the archer. Because you have to learn about surrender this time. And not seeing that as weak. Like, again, surrendering to whoever your parents were, right? That was just the way it was. Surrendering to whatever your sex is, and like surrendering to whatever your life was or is, but most importantly, what it was, because it's so, I guess there's also a really strong message of realizing that the past does not define you here. Okay? And until you realize that, you may have a really hard time getting out of the space of realizing, like being able to communicate clearly why things happened. Right? Because if not, if you can't explain the why, then you end up blaming yourself, and it could be hard. But I need you to know also that whatever you deem your self-value as, wherever it is, it expands. So whatever you whatever you think about yourself, this expands. If you think that you're a fucking piece of shit and life's fucking wicked hard and like you're just like, you know, you just think about all the trauma and all the heavy shit, then that is what it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And it's really, think about like when you get a little overweight, right? And then you're like, holy fuck, this is hard to take it off, right? It's easier to put it on than it is to take it off. So you want to be really aware with how you're thinking about yourself. And I know there's a big part of it where like your mother didn't love you the way that you needed her to in some kind of way. But I need you to remember again that that was just something that needed to be, so that you realize that, okay, so your mother and your father, for instance, didn't give you the nurturing or the love or the support that you needed. Well, that's why there's something called Mother Earth and why we call God Father, the Father. Right, you always have a mother and a father. You have to learn that inside of your own emotional well-being, right? Inside of all your feelings, all the water inside of you needs to know that, or life's a lot harder. Okay? Because you can't just say that you can't just say something. You have to know it. You have to feel it. You know what I mean? I actually see, however reclusive of a person you may be naturally too, your job or what you end up doing in the world where other people see you is actually very much in, like, you would end up probably in jobs where you're in the forefront, even though you just want to be, you know, you'd want to be the person in the back, in the desk, in the you know, in the far corner where no one can see, whatever, but you end up being the person at the front desk. Right? Something like that. And it's a little bit uncomfortable, but this is also what helps part of the issue with the mother. Being in the forefront of something, being really strong about something, and very sweet in that strength, right? It isn't like a fortitude that's like in your fucking face, you know, like, again, aggression. We're starting with, again, your Scorpio no tail. Interesting. It's probably a little hard for you to trust until some time has passed. It takes you a little longer to probably say, I love you. You may be a person that sort of expresses that through your actions and what you give people versus you saying it. I see breathing exercises would be really helpful for your meditation, for getting over things that have happened. And keep putting your arms, like using your arms and your hands in your prayer. Like not just in one position. I feel like your prayers would involve you taking, it's almost like Reiki on yourself. You know what I mean? You're just, you, and you don't even have to say anything. It's just like you taking the energy out of your body. This actually feels really good. You taking the energy out of your body from, right? Because your hands are so powerful, and this is a creation, right? So we have these. And so I see, and specifically like around your lungs, like down your arms, like this energy, that will calm you down. Because I think a lot of you could be sort of subconsciously nervous people, right? Which is sort of hard to tap into. It takes a while. Just a minute. Well, I guess Scorpio rising is sort of like Libra rising in traditional quote unquote astrology, or nowadays astrology. You have upside down chart. You have mirror chart, right? Your first house is the seventh house, etc. So you probably have a very interesting outlook on the world. You know, you're able to see things that other people can't see. But because of that, you probably feel like you live in a different world than other people. And it may be hard for you to communicate how you really feel about that. But I see the more, again, you know that home is where the heart is, and that you are at home, and that you are safe, and you are loved, and you are protected. And that, again, the things that have happened, especially whatever happened early on in life, and I see for a lot of you any like sexual trauma, that's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal for anyone, but I see that because you don't want to, you want to make sure that you realize that the past, no matter what it was, does not define you now, because it'll fuck with your self-esteem. You know, again, like whatever you think about yourself, whatever you think about the past, which obviously defines the present moment and now and who you are, that grows and grows and grows. So you got to be really cautious about what you think about, again. And I see that prayer with the arms and breathing, like, you know, breath work and things like that. I also see really like finding your mother and your father in God, in life. You know, it could be like the old man that lives across the street. It could be your dad. You know what I mean? Like you'd probably end up having to find parents in other people in your life versus the parents, you know. Because for most of you, I see your father probably wasn't around either, and your mother was sort of cold. So it's, you know, and again, there could have been some restriction where you were like taken away from your mother, or taken, some of you could have been in foster care or something like that. Because I know you really don't want to fight, but that's what life starts with, is a fight, right? And so you have to figure out, because when trauma happens like that, we move into this fight or flight sort of behavior, right? And but we don't have to do either one of those, because we can stay in the 0 point and realize, okay, I am safe, I am loved, I am protected. If you're still in this position where you feel like I need to put my tail up, but you don't have a tail, right? So then you're always like, I always got to protect myself in some kind of way. This is where well, I guess it goes back to breath work. I also see that four square breathing may be very helpful for you. You can look it up, four square, like the shape breathing. I also see you should probably, again, if you get in this position or you're still working through this a little bit, fine tuning it, you can ask yourself, if you start to feel nervous, if you start to feel like there's too much energy within and it's like a volcano wanting to get out, you have to ask yourself, am I in danger right now? And then take a minute and take a breath to figure out what the answer is. And I see this is how that big energy that isn't what you want comes back down in this space where you feel safe and secure. Okay? I do see most of your friends being spiritual. If you do have them, you're probably kind of picky about them. They have to be intelligent. Like you need to be able to communicate with them easily, because that's how you build these strong relationships emotionally that you really desire, you know? You probably do have to learn how to mother yourself, male or female. You have to learn how to nurture yourself. How to, like, some of you could have only been, some of you perhaps could have been an only child too. Not all of you, but even if you had other siblings, you still, there was something, again, that you didn't feel very connected to them, even though you're connected to them. Let's see if I see anything else. I see the more forgiving you are, the better your skin is. The because I think with Scorpio Ascendant too is you're probably purifying something quite great from your family line as well, right? But it's kind of a tough purification. So maybe some like I know sarsaparilla is a really good blood cleanser. There's certain like kidney kind of cleansing that needs to be done, blood cleansing. I see it physically, I see it in your family, ancestrally, etc. But that would be helpful. I'd also say that probably not drinking would probably not be good for you. It would flip it, you know what I mean? Like, I see, say I love you too. Maybe you need to say it to yourself, like a certain amount of times. Like, for instance, to close this out, when Azumi and I, my pup, well, not my, but Azumi and I met each other, found each other. She was a rescue, and whatever happened, although she's the sweetest thing on the planet, she's so sweet, this plane of existence, I can't believe we found each other. But she was scared. Like, she hid underneath the desk in my room and in the back of my closet for like a month. Like, she'd come out to eat and she'd go to pee, but it was just like she'd go out the door, pee, and then come right back in. Like, she felt so imprisoned, you know? And I don't know how many times, you know, I had to be, and I have kind of a bigger, you know, I have a deeper voice and like I can be sort of loud when I don't realize it. But the point is that I had to be really calm with her, you know, and be really aware of my own energy and how that was interacting with this, because I think I see Zumi as my inner child, and I think this is you and your inner child. And when I got her again, I can't even tell you how many times I told her that I was like, I love you, Zumi. Like, I love you. I love you so much. Everything's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. Like, literally, probably hundreds of thousands. I don't even know. At least 50,000 times I've said, I love you. And because of that, me saying it to her, me saying it out loud through my throat chakra, right? Taurus ruling your 7th house of other people. It's like other things, right? The more you say that, the more you're saying it to yourself, the calmer things become, because again, I love you. Everything's okay. It's okay. It's nothing. You don't gotta worry about nothing, right? Right. Okay, Scorpio Ascendant. Well, that was very... These are really interesting. I love them. All right. Well, that's that. Thanks for being here. Of course, I hope this was of service. Maybe gave you some different outlooks on what this could be. Learning about other people, right? Take care of yourself. Peace.